Osun, I represent Ogun Central. Mr. President, before I present this, I lead the debate on this very important bill for second reading. Let me commend Senator Abamoro because I listened attentively to when he was presenting, when he led the debate for the second reading of the bill that we just passed Now, in line with that, Mr. President, let me crave the indulgence of this distinguished Senate to now lead the debate on a bill for the establishment of Federal University of Medicine and Medical Sciences in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Tuesday, 8th of October 2019. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill seeks to establish the Federal University of Medicine and Medical Sciences in Abeokuta and make comprehensive provision for its management and administration. One of the reasons why it is important that we have this specialized university is that having medical schools as part of full-fledged conventional universities have hitherto not proven to be effective. This is because many of our traditional universities consistently grapple with lack of resources and funding to support their academic programs. Given that medical and health sciences programs are capital intensive, conventional universities in Nigeria are often unable to provide adequate resources needed to launch and operate a world-class medical school. The annual budgetary allocation to the conventional universities do not adequately fund the medical schools. There was an attempt in the past to solve this challenge with the recommendation by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria that universities should consider establishing independently administered colleges of medicine as a way to partly decentralize power and garner additional resources for the medical schools. Specialized medical universities have become very important in the country as there are high demand for medical and allied health professionals in Nigeria. Many reports suggest that the number of doctors, dentists, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, and bachelor's degree prepared nurses in the country are just not adequate to deal with the increasing population growth and the healthcare needs of the people in this country. The rising wave of external migration of medical and allied health professionals seeking greener pastures in more developed countries further compounds the problem. Furthermore, some critically needed health professionals, such as physical and occupational therapists, medical engineers, physiotherapists, and others, are just not adequately produced in the country. Indeed, some of the disciplines are on the verge of extinction due to the mass emigration of the professionals. Universities of Medicine and Medical Sciences have an excellent chance to train the critically needed health professionals, as they will have flexibilities for creative program expansion. The shortage of critical health professionals due to migration has become more chronic in recent years. For a leading country in Africa, such as Nigeria, the mass exodus of our health professionals to other countries is dangerous to the development of our healthcare system. Health indicators may continue to decline in the absence of aggressive interventions to stop this. More doctors and health professionals leaving the country has led to a shortage of Nigerian doctors and specialized healthcare practitioners. This has resulted in a heavy strain and dissatisfaction among those remaining. It is equally creating a fast-rising personnel deficit in the country's health sector, as statistics shows that there is a ratio of 1 doctor to 100 patients, especially in our public hospitals. The establishment of this institution is informed by the imperative to create more access to higher medical studies in view of the large number of qualified candidates who are annually stranded in their failed attempt in gaining admission into higher institutions in the state. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the objective of the university shall be, 1, to encourage the advancement of learning and to hold out to all persons without distinction of race, creed, sex, or political conviction the opportunity of acquiring a higher education in medicine and other health sciences. Number 2, to develop and offer academic and professional programs leading to the award of diplomas first degree, postgraduate research, and higher degrees with emphasis on planning, adaptive, technical, maintenance, developmental, and productive skills in the field of medicine, biomedical engineering, scientific, and allied professional disciplines relating to health resources, with the aim of producing socially matured persons with capacity not only to understand, use, and adapt existing technologies in the health industry, but also to improve on those disciplines and develop new ones, as well as to contribute to the scientific transformation of medical and other health practices in Nigeria, to act as agents and catalysts through postgraduate training, research, and innovation for the effective and economic utilization, exploitation, and conservation of Nigeria's natural, economic, and human resources. And finally, to identify medical needs of Nigeria and to find solutions to them within the context of overall national development, as well as provide and promote sound basic scientific training as a foundation for the development of medicine and allied discipline. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the health sector has very high potentials and require high-level medical, scientific, and administrative skills to drive it. The establishment of this university will go a long way into achieving these targets. This bill is well organized for its very own purpose of a modern academic and research institution. The objectives of the university, as articulated above, are supportive of its mission and broad vision of a modern institution that will develop world-class medical personnel that can sustainably manage our nation's health sector by providing medical expertise at the highest level. The university is therefore conceived to further advance knowledge through research and nurture unique innovations, entrepreneurship, and wealth management in its core area of interest. Mr. President, for the smooth takeoff of the new university, a landmass of 170 hectares has been donated in Abeokuta. The certificate of occupancy has always been processed, while full compensation has equally been paid to all inhabitants and occupants of the land. In addition, Mr. President, there is in existence in Abeokuta, in Ogun State, a functional medical center established about 30 years ago. The hospital has about 100 specialists and consultants in various fields of medicine who will form the crop of foundation staff for the medical school. This will not only reduce the cost of starting the school, but make it a medical school of excellence. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the enactment of this bill will help in transforming the health and education functions in Nigeria by producing the desired medical manpower and expertise that Nigeria is yearning for. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, in line with Order 77.3 of our standing rules, the financial compendium is hereby attached for your consideration. The good people of Ogun State will forever remain grateful to the 9th National Assembly for supporting and passing this bill. I hereby move for the second reading of this all-important bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
The establishment of specialized university to cater for the training of medical personnel is very important. Right now, we have dearth of manpower in medical sciences to the extent that the ratio of one doctor is up to about 500. Even though in the lead debate, the presenter had mentioned 100. It's much more than that. As we all know, our population is increasing. Perhaps in the next 15 years, we will be the third largest country in the world in terms of population. So there is need for adequate preparation for healthcare. If you have population boom, you need to prepare for education, for health, and for other social services. And that's why this bill is up. The establishment of the university is in the right direction. Already about 150 hectares have been provided. The minimum requirement is 100 hectares. So Ogun State government has graciously approved up to about 170. 70 hectares more than what the NUC, that is National University Commission, requires. So it is important we give approval to this university. Not only that, Mr. President, the death of manpower is mentioned by the lead presenter, leading to the brain drain. So many medical personnel trained in Nigeria are now looking for greener pastures. Most of them are now in Europe, America, and the Middle East. Perhaps the solution is to train more doctors so that they can stay in the country and work for Nigerians. So for this reason, Mr. President, I support the establishment of this university, and I urge all my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
President, my name is Olubumi Adetumbi, representing Ekiti North. I'd like to congratulate the sponsor of this bill. It's a very, very important and quite strategic for the human resource development of our country. All the investment in Nigeria in infrastructure will be sustainable when we have a population that is healthy and that is educated. This is the context in which I want to argue in favor of this bill. Mr. President, for some years, Nigeria has adopted a policy of specialized universities. We have federal universities of agriculture, federal universities of technologies all over the country, which is the evidence that generalized tertiary education is going out of fashion. And most countries, developing countries of the world, are beginning to invest in specific education sectors that are significant and strategic to their economies. And this is exactly what Nigeria is doing by the establishment of these special universities. The Special University for Medical Sciences has become necessary because a lot of the existing colleges of medicine within existing universities are already oversaturated. Their capacity to absorb more students, to fill the gaps in the supply of medical practitioners is becoming limited. And I think this is a very, very innovative addition to the specialized university system that Nigeria has been pursuing for some time. A lot of preparatory work has been done according to the mover, and which Senator Adamu Ailero just pointed to. The land is available, the students are there waiting for this school to be approved, and in order for them to go to our various hospitals and offer medical services to Nigerians. On this note, Mr. President, I'd like to second and third and support this bill so that it can be adopted for further processing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Buhari Abdul Fattah, Oyo North. Mr. President, specialized medical school is very, very, very important for our country. In most developed world, they have these specialized schools, particularly in the field of medicine. Mr. President, most of the universities in Nigeria that offer medicine, when they finish and they want to go for postgraduate in the developed world, they send them first to the Caribbean for what is called rotational before they can adopt them into their university, because they believe where they are coming from, they don't have confidence in them. But if we have this type of specialized school, and then we are able to establish and have a niche for ourselves that this school is purely on medicine, it will help the country, it will help our students, it will even help the exodus of medical personnel that are leaving the country for greener pasture. By the time if you are going, replacement will be on hand, because most people who have the capacity to go for medicine, just because the manpower is not there, the cutoff is unnecessarily high. They will be telling you 320, 300, 280. How can you tell me a child that got 260, 270 and having 7 credits or 8 credits in WAEC should not be able to enter medicine? But the vacancy is not there. But by the time we have this type of specialized school, it will help in taking most of the people who have the potential to do medicine in their life. Having said this, I congratulate the mover of the motion because it's an initiative. And fortunately, again, they already have a place in existence where they're already doing the pilot cases to see how it's going to work. And this thing has been in existence for some years now. Just all what we need now is a push so that we'll be able to get more people to be a graduate. It will serve a two-edged sword. One, replacing whoever is going the exodus, and to be able to absorb more students into the university who have the potential. Having said it, I'm supporting this bill, and I wish all my colleagues to support it so that we can help the country.
Bill from distinguished Senator Excellency Abeokuta Amosu. There's no doubt, Mr. President, that Ogun State is eminently qualified to have a university for medical sciences. And I think this is a global trend across the world to give room for medical excellence. And I think in our country, having a university specializing in medical sciences will help in reducing the annual medical trips by Nigerians, especially the elite, because this will promote excellence in medical science. And I think, Mr. President, that in supporting this bill, we should be able to encourage our government that I think the time has come for our nation to take the issue of specialized institutions, very, very necessary and important. I hold the view, Mr. President, that if we have specialized universities, it will give room for excellence, and of course, to a large extent, it will expand our universities in such a manner that thousands of qualified younger ones who are aspiring for university education can pursue the professions that they have in mind to pursue. In this country today, we are all living witnesses to the problem confronting most universities in getting admission. I hold the view that having a medical university will help our country in no small measure. Because, Mr. President, there are quite a number of ailments calling for research. And most of these universities that we have today, they are loaded. They are loaded in the sense that there are so many courses without even the manpower for those courses. So if we have specialized institutions for specific professions, especially key professions like medicine, I think it is something that is desirable. And I want to commend our colleague for bringing up this bill. And I think we should encourage others to look at the possibilities of having more specialized universities. For instance, there's nothing bad in us looking at even having a university for legal studies. There's nothing bad in looking at, already we have universities for agricultural sciences. So I think, Mr. President, this should be the trend that we should be going, and we should encourage the federal government to give all the necessary support that is required to have specialized institutions for our country. I so submit, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, Mr. President, kindly allow me lend my support to the lead debate being proposed by my good sector. You will find that what we have on ground is grossly inadequate. I believe also that given the regular university's disposition towards learning, the benefit of having specialization in our universities may be very, very difficult. This is because if we have a dedicated university or customized university like we have University of Agriculture, University of Technology, we have University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, it will promote specialization, promotes increase in the standard of healthcare delivery system. Mr. President, if the population that we have will be about 200 million in the next few years, if it is not already, and looking at, if you juxtapose the population of medical doctors vis-a-vis the population that we have, 72 according to certain studies, and what we have really on ground is not more than 35,000 doctors, you know that we are really behind time in meeting the demands and needs for proper healthcare delivery system. We are also trying to promote primary healthcare system in our various states. A lot of places you go where there are these primary healthcare centers, you hardly find any specialized medical expert there. I believe when we create a dedicated university for medicine and medical sciences, we will be producing doctors and specialists in various fields that will not only limit their services to our teaching hospitals, specialist hospitals, or general hospitals. Within a period of some time, you will find that these doctors will go into various primary health care centers in the hinterland. This will stop the activities of quacks who are there because there are no qualified doctors. It will also reduce the risk of transporting a lot of sick persons to places where there are special medical experts who will take care of them. Mr. President, I also believe that this proposal is something that we need to support and eventually make it possible that all the 6 zones of the Federation should benefit from dedicated, specialized University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, just like what we have in agriculture, in technology. With this, Mr. President, I would like to support the bill proposed by my good friend, Senator Amosun Ibikule. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Barrow Jibrin, I represent Kano North. Mr. President, let me first of all congratulate and commend the sponsor of this bill, Senator Ibikule Amosun, because this bill is apt, it is appropriate. Looking at the fact that we need to put in place a sound and robust health sector in this country. The importance of a very, very sound and robust health sector cannot be overemphasized. And you cannot do that without having the necessary manpower to drive and manage that sector. And that's what we are lacking here in this country. And that's why you find a lot of people moving out of the country, of this country, to overseas for medical attention. This bill will help to bring about a university that will help to train the manpower, the personnel, as I said earlier, that will manage our health sector. It's very, very important. In fact, we need more of this university, not only one. Not only one. We need several of them. And I'm not even surprised. I'm not surprised at all by the fact that the sponsor of this bill decided to bring forward this bill for processing so that the university of this nature will be established in Abeokuta. I had the opportunity of visiting Abeokuta when the sponsor was at the Helm of Affairs as the governor of that state. And I saw and I went around a medical center that he built in the old city of Abeokuta. I was fascinated by what I saw. The center is one of the very, very few we have in this country, with state-of-the-art facilities. You even think you are not in this country. I was surprised. I said, "Is this in this?" I was really fascinated by what I saw. So he has that passion to make sure that he contributes at all times his quota to develop the health sector of this country. That facility can only be equated. I think they are in the same class with what we have in Kano, Igijinyu, which was started by Senator Ibrahim Shekaro and completed by the current governor. In fact, the contractor who brought the equipment, I saw him there, who brought the equipment, German and American equipment, very, very, modern. The same contractor that, supplied those facilities to Kano hospital. So I give kudos for him for his passion to make sure that he contributes his quota to the development of the health sector of this country. This bill is up, and it needs the support of everyone here because it is a duty. It's our duty to make sure that we do all within our power so that we turn around the health sector of this country, because a healthy nation is a nation that will be full of prosperity. When you have a nation that you do not, when you are sick, you don't have where specialized, health centers to go to get treated, you are in trouble. So I commend him, and I urge all our colleagues here to support this very important bill. Thank you.
There seems to be another emergency for health, as we had for security, because since morning we've been talking about health. It's like we are growing as a nation. For me, I've looked around the country. The only University of Medical Sciences is built by a state, which is in Rivers State. And that's the only one existing now, and not for federal government. Today, like in Akwa Ibom, Mr. President, they've established a big factory that is producing over 10 million syringes a day. And this has come to a wider market in our lives and treatments. So there is no better time, Mr. President, for such bills to come up other than now. Federal University of Medical Sciences is a unique university. For instance, where His Excellency has mentioned for it to be cited, I can remember vividly that the only closest state to that place is Lagos. Yeah, we have University Teaching Hospital in Idiaraba, which is almost over 100 kilometers. And considering the traffic from Lagos to Ogun State, we don't think twice than to support this bill. I went to University of Babcock. Yes, they have a teaching hospital in Babcock, which is Ogun State. But where do I classify them? It's a private university. The common man has no access to such facilities. But today, if this university is established, it's not just called University of Medical Sciences. There is a unique research into these universities. The pathological aspect of it, the human existent aspect of it, and what is it? The postmortem that we go abroad to look at our own health. Some of us every day we go to Dubai, tomorrow we go to UK, the other day we are in Russia. These universities will make us to limit this exchange of foreign currencies. We now do it within our own currency. So, Mr. President, the bill is timely, and I support it wholeheartedly, that the bill should be read for the second time. Thank you, Mr. President.
In favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, Abeokuta, Ogun State, and for matters connected there with 2020 second reading taken. And the bill is referred to the Senate Committee on Health to report back within 4 weeks. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. We have our ad hoc committee on security meeting, and is one committee that we are all waiting to receive the report, a report from. So, because of that, we should maybe suspend the consideration of the other items on the order paper to allow all the members of the ad hoc committee to go and join in the meeting. Today will be their last day of the meeting with service chiefs and other security heads. Leader of the Senate.